Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you all see my board, whiteboard? You all clear? Right. First of all, I'd like to thank Alexandria to give this opportunity to talk to you guys, because you know that, as he said, that when I first became a monk, like when I did my PhD, when I was doing my PhD, I didn't want to become a monk. I just wanted to go through the career pathway of biochemistry and biophysics, because I was doing research studies with COVID-19, you know, the COVID-19 virus, proteins. But one occasion on YouTube, I stumbled across a talk from my teacher. Like those days, he's not my teacher, but that talk completely changed my life. And after listening to that talk, I started searching about the deeper aspects of the Buddhism, of this, you know, philosophy, and because of that, I realized slowly that there's something beyond, something. I mean, you can see something in this world, but something beyond happens in this world. That's what Buddha has discovered, and that's what Buddha has explained to this world. So, this is the starting point of my monkhood in 2023, and then here I am. I'm talking to you after now living this, like experimenting this for 5 years. So I wanted to share with you what my research findings that I found, not by mixing outside things, but by mixing inside. That means when I was doing chemistry, we have to deal with things, you have to mix everything in the outside, right? In the laboratory, you have to mix and do experiments, and you can come up with answers, research findings. But here, as a monk, I don't have to go to laboratory, right? My lab is my mind. At the same time, ladies and gentlemen, where's your lab? You came to the mind lab because we are going to study about our mind. We are going to study about the architecture of being. You are going to understand what's going, the theory that drives this world. This is the ultimate finding of the Buddha, ladies and gentlemen. So, you all have a mind, don't you? You have a mind. You are now, at the moment, you are using your mind to understand what I am going to explain to you. At the same time, you are going to study about your mind as well, because what I am going to explain to you is about your mind. So, you are using that instrument to study that instrument. It's like, basically, ladies and gentlemen, it's like, you know, you have, you know, the malfunction detection systems, right? So, this detection system is now trying to find a malfunction with that detection system. Let's see whether we can do this or not. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you were born with a mind. You used your mind to perceive what actually happens in the outside world. You used your mind to think, to feel, to judge, to experiment what's going on around the world. Newton's third law. What is the Newton's third law? You can't remember? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, all the Newton's laws, Einstein theories, everything actually cooked in their mind. You have used your mind to understand what they have said. isn't it? This is all happens in the mind, ladies and gentlemen. Not mining, but mind. This is minding business. Business of minding. So you all have that. You all have a mind. I also have a mind. I use my mind to perceive what I receive. You use your mind to perceive what you receive. But the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't studied about it. It's like you are using an instrument, you don't know how to use it. You don't know the mechanism, you don't know the theories, how that the theories that that instrument functioning. You don't know how to use it. You haven't read the manual. For example, you haven't read the material safety data sheet, or MSDS. Back in chemistry, we always check this MSDS. Before we buy a biochemical, we have to check MSDS, right? But in this case, we haven't studied about the MSDS or protocol or risk assessment about our mind. You know, that's the very reason that everybody in this world is suffering. Everybody feels fear, grief, anger, stress, anxiety, depression, whatever addictions, all happens in the mind. Addiction is not something that related to body, ladies and gentlemen. Body is a puppet. Mind is the game here. If you can heal your mind by understanding how mind works, if you can understand your mind, if you can realize what actually happens here, you can be free from all these sufferings. You all have lived your life. You all have these experiences. Since you were born, you lived, right? All your experiences. Can you share with me? Can you share your pain with me? You can share the words, but I'm asking, can you share your toothache with me? Let's say you have a toothache. Can you share that toothache with me, with anyone else? No. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever that you have felt is something that you feel from your mind. The thing is, you can't share your mind with anyone else. You can't show that mind to somebody else. You can't actually just you feel it, that's it. Does this make sense? When you suffer, you can share that suffering. You can share that feeling with words, but you can't actually let a portion of that feeling to the other. You can't lend that. Does this make sense? Can you share your happiness with somebody else, or you just share the incident? By looking at that incident, by listening to that incident, they also will get happy, but you can't share your happiness with them. The happiness is something that you feel from your mind, from your we call chitta in the Buddhism. So this is the first thing you had to understand when you were born. But now you are just starting to listen. That's the case. This is the first thing you have to know, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, that's why, ladies and gentlemen, everybody has these problems. There are wars, there are arguments with people, fighting each other. All these things exist in this world because these minds doesn't know what is a mind, how that operates, how that functions. When you are aware about what's going on here, then you naturally become a free person. That's why in the Bible it says, the truth will set you free. Because when you know the truth, when you understand the truth, when you realize the truth, when you find out the truth, then you will be free. Are you ready to do the experiments then? To find out what's going on with you? So in here you have to be open-minded. Second, you have to be honest. And third, you have to be like a child. Remember, always children is asking, Mama, what is that? What is this? I want that. So you have to be like a child. You have to be very receptive. Because I am going to resonate your mind in the channel that I am resonating. Because of that you will receive the wisdom. That's why I want to see your beautiful faces, because I want your feedbacks from your mind. Because when your mind is smiling, you are smiling as well. So when your mind feels what I feel, then you feel what you're not like this. Then I can get an understanding. I can get a sense that okay, you got it. So please do have active listening. You need to have active listening in order to grasp, in order to feel, in order to sense what I wanted to convey to you. I can attest to you, ladies and gentlemen, this is unprecedented. This is not something that you have heard. This is completely change your life. This will completely change your life. This happened to me, this teaching. It completely changed my life. It completely changed the way I look at this world. This is something. What is this? An apple. Is there any other answers? An apple, right? Everybody agree? You all see, can you see an apple? Can you see an apple? What is this? Orange. An orange, right? An orange? Sure? How about this, madam? Orange? Okay. Is there a difference between these two? What is the difference? I mean, whatever that you sense, tell me.
Different fruits.
Different fruits, okay. Okay, the taste is different, that means, okay. What are the other things that you feel different?
Different colors.
Different colors, okay, okay.
Different smell.
Different smell, okay. Okay, nice. And the texture is different, the shape and all these things are different. Agree? Yeah. Towards the end of this session, you will find there's no difference between these two. But I can see it's an apple, I can see it's an orange. The way you judge about these two guys will be changed. Does this make sense now? That's good. You can see an apple, but you feel there's an apple in the apple. You feel there's an apple in the apple. You know, apple fruit is there. You feel, you can see an orange, and from your mind you get a judge. You judge that there's an orange in this orange. That's why you call it as an orange, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, shall I ask you a question? You feel this entity is not this entity. This entity, this thing, entity is not this entity. Does this make sense? This is an entity and this is an entity. This entity and this entity is two different entities. That's why it has two identity. You know, you need entity, right? You need to feel entity. That's why you give identity. You call it this as orange because this has an identity. What is that identity? You know, what is your identity number, identity card? What did they say? Name, where you were, like the day that your date of birth, all these things. Identity means uniqueness. This is very unique, ladies and gentlemen. This is also very unique. You know, this is the very reason everybody fight each other. This is the very reason everybody feels fear, grief, anger, stress. Don't worry, I will solve it. Because, you know, this is like a movie. First part, you have what? Puzzles. Later, I will solve everything. This has an identity. That's an apple. That's why you call it apple. You call it apple because you know this is unique. That's why when you were born, you asked from your mom what? What is? What is that? Because when you ask what is that, you have a feeling this is something unique. Isn't it? And this is something unique. This is something unique. This is not this, this is not this, this is different to this is different to this. That's why we have 3 different names. This is called Newton's color wheel. Newton wheel, okay? Otherwise you might, what is that? Right? Ladies and gentlemen, even though you feel like this, the reality is actually different. This is the same feeling you feel about yourself as well. Yourself is very unique. And yourself is very unique. And myself is very unique. I am not you, you are not me. We are 2 different entities. That's why we have identity. That's the name you refer to call that person. Person means person is person. Person means what? A unique creature, unique being. Are you trying to find, are you lying with me? Coming with me? This is not very deep, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that we all feel in day-to-day life. You every day when you judge, when you think about, when you look at something, you feel in this way. So you can't come out of it. First you have to understand this. This is something like this. Imagine you have a headache since you were born. Would you be able to understand that you have a headache? Let's say you were born with a headache. When you were born, you had a headache. Would you be able to understand that you have a headache? No. Why? It becomes your norm. It becomes the way that you feel. Right? Got it? This is something like that. Our mind has some problem. Because of that, our mind is judging in the wrong way. Our mind taking the wrong decisions every time. That is why we all feel like this. Do you feel suffering? Do you feel sad? Do you feel sad? Sad? Happy? And stress, of course. I shouldn't talk about that in a university, right? Stress? Anxious about anxious? Do you have insurances? Why do people have insurances? Because of what? Fear of future. You can't predict the future. Because of that, you have fear about what will happen to you. So I have an equation here. All these emotions, are very closely associated with this me thing, isn't it? Me? Me means your me and my me and her me and everyone has me's. Let's explore this. If somebody pass away far in, let's say, Russia, do you feel any agitation do you feel any suffering in your mind, or a person has passed away? Okay, right? But if somebody dies in the UK, now this little bit closer to your me thing. Now your mind is agitating slowly. The vibration is very low, the magnitude is very low, but something. Let's say he is your neighbor or your friend, then what happens? If somebody passes away, then he is your friend. Now the level of magnitude is what? Increases. You feel. How about your closest friend? Hi. How about your family member? How about your father? How about yourself? To the maximum. Am I right or wrong? So that means, ladies and gentlemen, let's have an equation. This, let's say, suffering is closely related to what? There's a relationship between this meanness. Agree? You can say me, oh, I. That makes sense. Your I. Agree? Your I is very unique, and your I is not the other one's I, isn't it? So, you are an entity, isn't it? You talk about myself. When you talk about myself, you talk about who? Yourself. You talk about your uniqueness, your name, your date of birth. These are the factors that authenticate that this is you. Remember when they want to identify yourself, what the questions they ask? Your name, date of birth, and place of birth, passport number, blah blah blah. Okay, this is you then. So that means, that we all have this understanding, this experience that you are a unique character, and because of that, ladies and gentlemen, now suffering is very related to this thing. Does this make sense? Right? What is this? Orange. From where did you say that this is an orange? What is the instrument that you use to recognize? Your brain and then the mind. Without the mind, you can't recognize this. Don't worry, don't worry. Now you have the question. Where's the brain and where's the mind? I'll solve this problem. This guy, you recognize. To recognize, you recognize based on what? Whatever the signals that you receive, based on that, you recognize using your mind. That this is, because dead person also have a brain, even though the brain is functional, they can't think, because why? The mind is not there. Mind is not connected to the body, that's why. You recognize this, right? Okay. You recognize using your mind. Agree? Right. Do you feel yourself? Do you feel that you are the same person you came here? What's your name, sir? Yeah. Theo. Yeah. When somebody call you Theo, then you feel, it's me. Remember? You have everyone has a separate name, and because of that, everyone respond to that name. It's me. You all feel that you are yourself, the same person. Agree? Excellent. That means, ladies and gentlemen, this I that you experience is a feeling. It's a sense. It's a sense that you experience. That's why you call it I am. Does this make sense? You need your heart, you need your mind to feel that you are yourself. I am yourself. I am me. Agree? Then you feel there are two unique things here, right? This one is not this one is not this one. This is a taro, this is an orange, this is an apple. You feel this is an identity, this is an entity, this is an entity, this is an entity. This I, sense of I, is also the sense of entity. Entity. You feel you are a unique characteristic, character, entity. Unique being. Does this make sense? Agree? Is it logical or not so far? Ladies and gentlemen, all these suffering, emotions, negativity, whatever the ups and downs in your life associated with this entity feeling. All this suffering, all these arguments, all this negativity associated with this entity. Because if something happened to the other entity, you don't feel it. If that entity is very close to your entity, if there are connections, then you feel it. If there's no connections, the connections are far apart, then you don't feel any, the suffering won't happen in the mind. Got it? So, ladies and gentlemen, let's see whether these entities exist or not. Of course, it exists at this moment, but I'm going to crack open the matrix, so then you will understand there are no entities. Do you understand this part up to here? Entity. We all identify this is as a glass of water, orange. Sorry. See, there's an apple in the apple, so you can't say orange to here. Can we say blah blah to this? You can rename, you can refer, but can we rename this? Can we put a name for this, another name? Yes, if everybody agrees with that name, it's fine. Okay, the name doesn't count here. I'm talking about you feel that there's an entity. This is unique and this is unique. Do you feel it? From bottom of your heart you feel it? That this is unique? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, then shall I write down that I related to suffering? And this is the feeling of entity. Now this is the case. Now I want you to go back to your science class. You know, basic science that you learn. What are the components in an atom?
Protons, neutrons, electrons.
Good. Let's say I take helium for here. What are the components in this atom? Electrons, protons, neutrons. Don't worry. Don't worry about the number. Sorry, Swami Bhante. You can call me Bhante. Sorry, Bhante, I can't remember the number. Don't worry. I'm not worried about that. These are electrons, protons, neutrons, isn't it? How about sodium? Okay, electrons, protons, neutrons. How about lithium? What are the uniqueness in these three? What is the uniqueness in helium?
Numbers.
Different in the numbers, but what are the components? Isn't it same or not? You haven't think in this line of thoughts. Just now you have to open. See, I told you, open mind. Now open your mind. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no uniqueness in sodium than helium, because helium and sodium made out of what? Same components, electrons, protons, neutrons, electrons, protons, neutrons. The number is different. Number of electron is different, but let's say 2 electron, 2 proton, 2 neutron, this is 23. Let's say number, what number, right? These different number of same thing aggregated. Again here the same thing aggregated, but level of aggregation is high here, level of aggregation is low here. Does this make sense? Let's say you take clay, not clay, Play-Doh, and you blade it, right? Play-Doh, 1 gram of Play-Doh and 2 gram of Play-Doh and 5 gram of Play-Doh. Same Play-Doh with different sizes. Make sense? This is exactly like that. But then you will argue with me, no, there are 3 types of here: electron, proton, neutron, isn't it? Isn't it? But ladies and gentlemen, according to the Einstein, these 3 are also same. This is made out of energy. Energy, free energy, aggregated. Free energy, aggregated. Mass is actually not mass. You know what mass means? What? Church mass means what? Why do you call church mass as church mass?
Like a service. It's about togetherness.
Gathering. The mass name has a meaning of gathering. energy gathering, we call it as a mass. That's why if you break the mass, you can get energy out of it. That's where nuclear reactors, nuclear power plants, how do they get energy? They break the mass. They break the mass into pieces. Because of that, they can get energy out of it. That means, ladies and gentlemen, mass is not actually mass. It's an aggregation of energy. Does this make sense? Electron, proton, neutron, actually they are different level of aggregation of free energy. Free energy is free energy. This is an energy cloud. But sometimes they have aggregations. These aggregations have not created. These are the different level of aggregations. We name it as what? Helium, sodium, lithium. Now tell me, what is the same? What are the base level component that created all these atoms? What is the base level component? That is the energy. Actually, there's no unique thing here than this. Does this make sense? This is also energy, this is also energy, this is also energy, but level of aggregation is high. Have you seen birds showing different patterns in the sky? You can see different shapes. But these different shapes doesn't represent uniqueness, because the same birds are showing different patterns in the sky. The same bunch of birds, you can change the different arrangement, you can make it different patterns. You can make different patterns. You can see different patterns because of the random arrangement they have. Likewise, ladies and gentlemen, energy, when this arrangement is dismantled and rearranged in this way, you can create helium and you can create sodium, because this is the same thing arranged in a different way. This is a little bit deeper, but try to understand. You can easily grasp this. What is the difference between water and ice?
Energy that the atoms have.
Yeah, like aggregation level is high in ice, but aggregation level is low in liquid. How about water vapor, cloud? The density of that aggregation is very low. But cloud is not a cloud, ladies and gentlemen, because cloud is an aggregation of water molecules. River is not a river because it's an aggregation of water molecules. Ice is not an ice because it's an densely packed aggregation of what? Water molecules. Now, the particle or the base element that created this whole world is this guy. This is related to your thesis, madam. You said anatta? Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand this? That means what is the base component of hydrogen? Energy. Helium? Energy. So lithium? Energy. Everywhere you can see energy aggregations. But I accept this. Different level of aggregation created different effects. Does this make sense? Different level of aggregation created different effects. That's true. See? What is this guy? Sodium. Chlorine. This guy is an explosive metal. When you put into water, it's a metal. It's explosive metal. This guy, you used to bleach toilets. How about this guy? Is it explosive bleach? I think if this characteristic is with this guy, then it should bring this characteristic together and create what? Explosive bleach. Is this an explosive bleach, or this is salt you add to the cuisines? Huh? Got it? Then that means, ladies and gentlemen, whatever the property that you saw is actually not with the ingredient. Whatever the property that you felt is not actually there with the ingredient. If it is there, so the property of sodium metal is whatever that mind has perceived, isn't it? Explosive metal. Somebody has seen and explored and researched and felt. That's what they have said to you. That's what they have studied in the school. How about chlorine? Same. If this material of this aggregation has this property, then when they bring together, that aggregation should show the combination of those two properties. Does this make sense? But it doesn't work like that. What is this? Red color. What is this color? Blue. What you can see? Purple, right? Did I mix red and blue and create purple?
Perception.
Where does the purple appear? So this is blue, this is red. If I mix together, then what should you have? Blue-red. Well, what do you have right now here? Purple. Pink. So how does pink came from? Where does this pink came to here? Did it come from somewhere?
It's just your perception of it.
This is the theory you need to understand, cause and effect. Two causes come together, it creates completely different effect. But ladies and gentlemen, causes are same. When you mix together, you cannot create a completely different product. It's an aggregation of all these things. Sodium chloride is not sodium chloride. It's an aggregation of what? Whatever the sodium brought here, whatever the chlorine brought here. Number of electron, proton, neutron didn't change here. You cannot create a product. Does this make sense? Have you all had burger? A burger? Is there a completely new thing called burger compared to the whatever the racks that you have? Like in the McDonald's you have racks, right? They have what? The sandwich and patty and lettuce, they are in the different racks, right? Inside. So they take each of these and mix together. And do they create something new or just this arrangement? This is a very subtle point. Do you feel, no, it's a new product. Okay, leave it there. But what is there actually? Things together. It's a gathering, ladies and gentlemen. It's a party. It's just a mixture. It's a gathering. You name it as what? Burger. But when I like put apart all the things together, like separately, you don't call it as a burger, because whatever that you feel, the effect that you experience is different. That's why you name it. You can't name it as a burger, but when you put together, you name it as a burger, because you feel a different effect when you put together. Does this make sense? You feel a different effect because when causes come together, it creates completely different effect in your mind. But the thing is, causes come together cannot create a completely different product, because it's a producting. It's a mixture. It's an arrangement of same thing. Are you on the same page, or? When you make cake, what are the ingredients you need? Let's make a. Do you bake a cake? What do you want? Flour. Then? Huh? Eggs. Eggs. Sugar. Vanilla essence, yes, of course. And some little bit of milk. I used to add those days. Now I don't cook. Yes, of course, butter. 250 kilo, 1 kilo cake. Right? Okay. Let's see. You mix all the things together and you bake it. You feel you have created a cake. Is there anything other than what you have put? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the mixture of what you have put and took out some water out of it. That's what you said, baking. And whatever that left there, is it a completely new product? Oh, you feel it as a product because of that effect you experience. You feel it as a product because the effect is different. But ingredients, whatever that exists in the outside world, is it different or the same components still? Have you seen walls, brick walls? You feel it's a product. Wall. Wall is made out of what? Bricks. And concrete? Okay. Is there anything other than, wall means what you said. But what are the components? Still arrangement of bricks. So that means, ladies and gentlemen, whatever that we have named as entities, actually truly they are not entities, they are just arrangement of the causes. Does this make sense? Do you have clothes you wear? Right? Of course. Can you see that this is a one piece, right? Okay, I have something here. This is my handkerchief, okay. One product here, isn't it? Is this a product or arrangement of wools? If you go zoom in, and this is an arrangement of what? Energy. How about this guy then? You're waiting for this, isn't it? Huh? Am I holding an orange or am I holding an arrangement of energy? Good. Am I holding an apple or am I holding an arrangement of apple? No. I'm holding an arrangement of what? Energy. Now tell me. Is there true different entities exist here? No. Do you feel it or not? You feel it because different colors, but component-wise, these are compounds. Because what do you mean by compounds? Compound has a meaning of what? Compounding, compound, aggregation, gathering, masses. Body. This is not a body, ladies and gentlemen, this is a body. You know why? Water body. You know, body has a different meaning. Body means, water body means what? A collection. Is this a thing or collection? Collectioning. I'll come to that place later. This is a collection, this is a collection. There's no true uniqueness exist here. This is an aggregation, arrangement of energy packed in a different way, and this is also packed in a different way. Agree? Good or bad? So far, so good. I'm doing it very slowly because if I just talk this, explain this rapidly, then you won't understand anything. Because you are doing a meditation, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Right now you are doing mindful awareness meditation. But you don't know it. This is like, have you had vegetarian chicken? Vegetarian chicken means what? I think meat you can produce from soybeans or something. Something like that. I didn't say that I am doing meditation, but you are doing meditation. You are doing right now because you are contemplating, you have to think. You have to apply what I am saying. I love this audience. I want you to focus, and I need your 110% attention to feel this difference. Feel that there's no difference. True difference. So now I am holding an apple, isn't it? This and this is different, isn't it? You know, at some point, this can become this. How? If I eat it, everything that you have, is it go to the toilet or do you absorb something? Okay, why do you eat, ladies and gentlemen? This is something like refilling your car, filling your car. Car tank. This is why we take food. Whatever the energy aggregation here, when you eat, it goes to your tummy and dismantled, right? Rip apart to pieces that can absorb to the blood, and then in the cells, these nutrients take it and arrange in a different way. This is what we call flesh, and this is what we call apple. Now tell me, am I holding completely different thing here, or this is the same thing? Did it change your way you see or way you think? It changed the way you think. It didn't change the way you see. Don't worry, this doesn't change your eye retina or anything. I'm not hypnotizing you, ladies and gentlemen. Does this make sense? this changed the way you judge about this world. Because you are now opening your eye, the third eye, you are opening your eye, the wisdom to reality of this world. This is what we have studied since we were born, but we didn't see in this way. We haven't think about in this way. We haven't thought about this way, like this is the way that it works, it happens. You know that this energy aggregation can be this energy aggregation by when you uptake, when you take it, when you have it, what happens? It get digested and rearranged. So, you know amino acids? What are the amino acids you have? Let's say this is my field. Alanine, glycine, leucine, valine. This is an arrangement. Let's say this is hair. I am simplifying. Right? Glycine, leucine, alanine, valine, lysine. This is apple. The same thing, different arrangement create what? Different effects. That's why you feel hair is not apple. But when you look at through the behind the scene, when you go deeper, you will realize, actually, it's the same thing, just different arrangement. Does this make sense? So, is there hair in the hair? Unique thing called hair in hair and apple in apple. Ladies and gentlemen, onion. Is there an onion in an onion? Or it's just the gathering of leafy sheets? Cabbage. Isn't it? You have this characteristic everywhere in this world. This is not a whiteboard, this is not a glass of water. But we can refer this effect as glass of water, this effect as whiteboard. But it doesn't change, this doesn't change your naming process. The way you refer, where you call, where you distinguish. No, this change your perspective. Does this make sense? Actually, your body and my body are also what then? Is there any unique thing in you, what you have, that I don't have? No, ladies and gentlemen, you can say your DNA is unique, but the thing is DNA, right? If you cut your DNA into pieces and put it to my body, will I get digested and have it? In my body, it will absorb. Don't worry. If you put your DNA particle into my tummy, it will digest and absorb. So that means, is there true difference between you and me, or anybody here? Or we are just the same energy cloud, different aggregation levels? Shall I tell you an analogy? We are like, ladies and gentlemen, 2 ice cubes in water. Two ice cubes dipped in water. This is an ice cube, this is an ice cube. Ice cube made out of what? Water molecule. This is also made out of what? Water molecule. Water is made out of what? Water molecule. This air is made out of what? Energy. Your body is made out of what? Energy. My body is made out of what? Energy. Different level of aggregation, This is what we can see as solid, liquid, gas. Solid, liquid, gas are effects that mind can perceive. Remember I told you, right? When things mix together, it created effect. The effect is what you see, feel. That's what your mind feels. But in reality, when you come out from your mind, what exists here is there's no difference. Does this make sense? This is what actually happens in the outside world. This is your eye. This is the mental picture that created in your mind. You need these two to create this. If something happens to this, this gets changed. If something happens to this gets changed. Does this make sense? Because colorblind people, they can't judge. What they see is different. Right? If something happened to this gets changed. If something happened to this gets changed. So, causes come together, create an effect, isn't it? Actually, ladies and gentlemen, this is the effect. These are the cause 1 and cause 2. Does this make sense? Sodium and chlorine. What do you have here? Salt. This is bleach. This is explosive metal. Apply this principle to here. You will find some interesting point. Is this sodium chloride is equal to sodium? Is sodium sodium chloride? Sodium is sodium chloride. Effect? Is it the same effect or different? Different, isn't it? Agree? Whatever that you perceive, is it the same thing or a different thing? Different means different effect or same effect? Remember, causes come together, it's the same thing, exist, but created what? Mind feels different effect. That's why you feel saltiness there. Exactly like here. When you look at me, are you looking at me or are you looking at the mental picture that created within your mind? Shall we do the experiment to see this? Check this. Huh? Do you see that my position is changing? Good. Now close this eye, one eye, and wiggle this eyeball like this by looking at me. Does this change your view? Shake? Then nothing happened to me. So are you looking at me or are you looking at the picture that created within your mind? Because if this change, it affects here. Does this make sense? Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you have to understand. Whatever that you felt, whatever that you sense, is an effect. This is what I wanted to convey to you. Whatever that you experience is an effect. Causes come together to generate that effect. As long as causes are aligned, the effect is being generated. As long as the causes are ripped apart, like let's say contribution, if this contribution stops, then what happens? Whatever that effect that you experience change. Make sense? Then, in the outside world, is there a difference here? Energy world? No. But in the mind, is there a difference? Yes, that's an effect that you feel. But is it there in the outside world, or these two are same thing? Made out of same thing? This is an aggregation of energy. This is an aggregation of energy. There's no true difference between these two. But whatever you feel is what? Apple effect. You feel what here? Orange effect. Does this make sense? Two different effects, but effect is not there with this entity. Sorry, aggregation. Is there an entity, or entity is just a sense? It is just a sense, ladies and gentlemen, but whatever that exists here is not an entity, because these are made out of same things. This is and this doesn't have any difference. What is this? A line? Four. Did I draw a 4 or did I draw 3 lines? Where's the 4 then? 4 is in your mind, ladies and gentlemen. What is this? Where's the triangle? Uh-oh. What is this? What is this? What is this? You can't see? What is this? What is this? What is this? N is in your mind. What is this? What is this? What is this? K is in your mind. Did you understand now, ladies and gentlemen? Whatever that you perceive doesn't exist here. These are the causes contribute to generate that effect. But that effect is not there. Effect is here, not here. Your effect and my effect cannot be shared. We try to share our experiences, ladies and gentlemen. We can't share our experience because these are just effects, because whatever that you show is not what I see. Your apple is not my apple. Your orange is not my orange. But whatever that exists here are just mere energy aggregations. They don't know that you call them as an apple. If you ask from Mr. Apple, are you an apple? These cells will. Do you think these cells know that they are in an apple? These cells has an agenda to be in an apple, or just they stay there? exactly like this. These are just valueless, colorless, tasteless, smellless energy aggregations. You know what? Color, sound, taste, smell, touch, senses are effects that created in the mind. Did you understand from this that effect is generated outside, apart from here? See, I write 1 and then I write 2. You say 12. But I didn't write 12. I wrote 1 and 2. Right? When you say there's 12, okay, help me to touch 12 then. No, I can't touch 12 because this is 1 and this is 2. If I erase 2, you said 12 gone. Where did it go? Check whether he is hiding 12. No, 12 is an effect, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, your mind is an effect. Because colors, sound, taste, smell, touch, these are just experiences that we feel. You can't find colors in here. Shall I prove? If you take a microscope and zoom in and zoom in and zoom in and zoom in, would you see colors? Why? These pigments are actually not colorful. Light plus pigment plus eye created color in the mind. I can show you. I can show you a green color, orange. This orange is not an orange, it's an orange color. Now, what is the color of this orange? Green. What is the color of the orange? If I turn off this light, what is the color of the orange? Actually, orange doesn't have a color. Apple doesn't have a color. Color is an effect that you felt. Make sense? But ladies and gentlemen, we have a wrong idea that whatever that we feel exists in outside. We have a wrong idea. What we sense is our mind is a detector. That's what we think. No, our mind is an effect. It cannot detect. Can you hear this sound? Do you think sound is coming from here? No, these are just energy vibrations. These vibrations passing through the air molecules and vibrate your ears. This generates nerve pulses. That means electricity. Your brain is full of wires, electricity. Just electricity is sound. Is that electricity is sound? No, electricity is electricity. These electric pulses, impulses. These impulses trigger the sound in the mind. That's why brain is not the mind. Brain has pulses, neurotransmitters, neurochemicals. Mind is where you feel color, sound, taste, smell, touch, thoughts. This orange is not orange taste, doesn't have orange taste. You know why? Without a tongue, you can't feel an orange taste. This chemicals plus tongue has to come together to generate that effect in the mind. These chemicals are just energy aggregations. I didn't hypnotize you, ladies and gentlemen. I just explain basic principles of this world. That's the cause and effect. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the theory of everything. It's not Stephen Hawking's theory of everything, but this is the theory of everything that explains everything that you feel, sense, smell, taste, touch. Your mind is an effect. Now tell me, is there are entities in the outside world? Different entities exist in the outside world. No. Why? Everywhere you can see energy aggregations. Make sense? Are you seated in a chair, or chair is also you also chair? Just energy. There's no true difference between, spaghetti. Pizza, spaghetti, what do you eat? Bread, banana, avocado. I don't know the favorite food here. What is that? In Australia, avocado slice, bread with avocado. None of these things are unique, ladies and gentlemen. They are just filled with energy. We are the one who projected our feeling to that on top of that energy aggregation. Say, see, this is blue color. This is not blue color. This is colorless. This is what we feel. Can you see it from your eye, or this is just only you can change your thinking? You can change your thinking. The way you judge is different. Now, it will change the way you judge, ladies and gentlemen, not the way you perceive. The perception will be same. The way you see, you can see colors. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. But the way you judge changes. Now tell me, is there a true difference between you and anyone else? No. Is there a true difference between you and the rest of the countries and everything? No. Does this British cow knows he is producing British milk? I've seen so many types of variants of milk. Here, British milk. When I went to Ireland, it is Irish milk. And in Australia, Australian milk, made in Australia. But the cow doesn't know that he is producing Australian milk, and the grass is also not Australian, and grass is not even... These are mere fallacies. Fallacies, a wrong perception of entity that we feel in our mind because we can't see the reality. When you were born, ladies and gentlemen, you were born with this wrong idea. What is the wrong idea? Entities are there. When you have this wrong idea, is it right or wrong? Wrong idea, because everywhere you can see energy. Wrong idea, but now what happened? This is like this. This brand, Anzio, this is best brand, marker pens. I have other pens as well, but they don't work like that. This is the best brand, Anzio. What's the brand? Repeat. 𝗬𝐴𝑛𝑧𝑖. What is the brand? 𝗬𝐴n𝑧𝑖. Repeat again. 𝗬𝐴n𝑧𝑖. This is the best whiteboard marker I recommend. Now I planted an idea in your mind. If you took it, now what happened when you go through the supermarket and when you see this, you feel it in this way. This is how advertisements work. They plant that idea in your mind. That's why even when you open the Facebook, you can see advertisement. YouTube also you see the same advertisement. Instagram, whatever the social media platform, you can see advertisement. You can indoctrinate it with this idea. Whatever the idea, if you keep telling it again and again and again to your mind, you can indoctrinate it with that idea. As a result of that, you feel from the way that they can change your way of perception. Anyone. If you take the idea into your mind, now you can't come out of it. You feel in that way. Does this make sense? If you keep chanting this idea again and again and again, now what happens? You start to believe. This idea leads to your perception. As a result of that, perception confirms the idea. Idea leads to the perception, perception confirms the idea. Now what happens? This is a vicious cycle, you can't come out of it until someone explains to you whatever you believe is wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, madam, if you have come across, this is the ignorance that Buddha has explained. Entity is there. Because of idea you have, entity is there, you feel an entity. When you feel an entity, you believe that idea. As a result of that, you feel an entity. As a result of that, you believe that idea. This is the cycle of what? To sense an entity. Now tell me, this is the architecture of being. Because being means what? Human beings, you different entities, you feel difference. This is the wrong idea that we have. As a result of that wrong idea, we start to feel, shall I erase this? Right, sense of self. Yourself is an entity, isn't it? Yourself is a different entity. This self is what? Orange. This self is what? You don't call it self, but for this lecture we can say this self is an apple, this self is an orange. But this orange, is this orange or this is an aggregation of energy? This is an aggregation of energy. Remember number 4, K, N, just arrangement, different arrangement. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, this is the vicious cycle that generates the sense of self in your mind. Sense of self equals to sense of entity. You don't have to get rid of self. You just have to realize. Because realization of the truth will set you free from entity feeling. As a result of that, there is no suffering. Because this associated to what? I don't feel I am a unique character. As a result of that, I am not suffering here. I am enjoying the nature. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the way to love your neighbor. As Jesus Christ said in the Bible. When you understand this, that everybody is equal. Not everybody is equal. Everybody is the same bodies. There's no true difference. This is the way to love your neighbor without any conditions. This is what we call unconditional love. The way we love is conditioned. But when you understand this, you don't have any conditions, because everybody you feel equal. Then you don't have to fight for equal rights because you are equal. Naturally we are equal, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have any separation. It's our mind, because of ignorance, that we felt this separation. It's a false sense of existence. It's a false sense of self. It's a false sense of being. That madam said that you are studying Sanskrit, right? Hinduism. There's a nice sloka. Ayan nija paro veti ganana lagu chetasam udara charita namtu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. Fool says that this belongs to me, that belongs to him, this is mine, this is him. Wise man says, one world, one family. In order to understand oneness, you need to understand there's only oneness exists here. Not oneness, that energy. There's no true difference between yourself and myself. If I take your mind out and my mind out, we all are same identical twins, ladies and gentlemen. There's no difference at all. Your me and my me is same. Now tell me, is there a difference? No. Can you see the this is an orange, this is an apple. Is there apple in the apple? Is there an orange in an orange? No. This is what happened to you. What can you see? The house? 3 balls, right? Everybody agrees with that? This man is going to put the ball on top of the roof. What will happen to the ball? Now, is there any other comments?
Is there a magnet there?
Magnet there, okay. Now you have to understand, you have to explain something. Any guess?
It's an illusion.
It's an illusion, okay. But earlier, did you feel it's an illusion or it's a ball? It's an house. It's a house. Good. See? Let's see, let's see. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a house, even it's not covered. At least. Got it? Now this is the funny thing. Okay, that's fine. Now he's going to change to the position. Now think about your perception, okay? The way you feel. Can you see a house? Yes. Is there a house? No. Can you see a difference? Can you see a difference? Yes. Is there a difference? When you open the logic of the magic, then the magic doesn't, magic is not a magic anymore, because you know the logic behind the magic. This is an illusion, ladies and gentlemen, as a difference, because difference is not something there in this world, but it's like a mirage. You can see water, but there's no water. You can see a difference, but there's no difference. Does this make sense? This is not something very deep, ladies and gentlemen. This goes more than deeper than this. I didn't take you through this deep end of this philosophy, because we can explain everything, even the double slit experiment that scientists are trying to explain. We can explain everything, ladies and gentlemen, with this theory. At the same time, you will get rid of all your sufferings. Slowly, if you practice this. I'm honored to have you all here. I'm honored to have this session, because I know you all are studying, you all are something you want to understand about this, whatever that Buddha has explained. I'm glad that you are studying, you all are studying this. Because this is go beyond your, when you read the books, you can't actually grasp it. You need to have a teacher to understand what he meant. Because when you read the book, you read from the lines. The book doesn't have a mind. You have to have an open conversation like this. Then the teacher can resonate your mind according to the way that Buddha has explained. This is what happened to you. That's why you felt. That's why you can say that this is not the same thing. Earlier, it was like the house, balls. Then I showed you the suffering. That's like the second stage, that the ball is going upwards. And the third stage, I opened the energy world and I showed you that this is all made out of energy. It's like the changing the position of the house. And the third stage is like, fourth stage is now you can still see difference, but you know that there's no difference. But the thing is, when I say thank you, you don't have this support. Then you will go back to the same way that you were judging. That's why we need to associate a teacher to find out, to train you to think in this way. As a result of that, slowly you can get rid of your sufferings. This is what happened to me. I know that you are searching for this. Throughout your life, ladies and gentlemen, you have been looking, you have been searching to find the satisfaction, isn't it? Day in and day out, you are trying so many things to feel satisfaction, contentment, happiness. Happiness is the absence of suffering, ladies and gentlemen. When you understand this, there's no sense of self, there's no suffering. As a result of that, your mind will be at peace. This is the way to rest in peace, and this is the way to find the Nibbana or Nirvana or ultimate enlightenment. Thank you very much for listening. You can ask questions or anything whatever that you. This is what we call anatta. Anatta means like non-self. There's no entities. But in order to understand anatta, you need to go through the bottom of the architecture. That's why Buddha has explained the architecture of being is the attachment because of the ignorance. Ignorance leads to attachment that created suffering. So Buddha referred to as suffering is this sense of self. The suffering, dukkha, that's the word Buddha has used. Dukkha is not dukkha. Dukkha is not suffering. Dukkha is the sense of self. This leads to suffering. sense of entity, sense of uniqueness, sense of separation. You feel that you are separated to me, right? But we all are same. This is the profound teaching I listened on that day. As a result of that, I changed my life. It changed my life, and I slowly started listening to the talks, and then ended up in here, in the monastery that I stayed with my teacher. If you want to study this, you have an opportunity. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. we are doing online session. If you are free, you can participate, join there. We explain every day the same thing again and again. We go slowly deeper and deeper. So if you want to register for that, I think this QR code? Yes. You can scan it. So this is a journey. It's not something that I can't explain everything at one go. I am in a journey as well. I can share that, whatever that findings that I feel with you.
Can you say a little bit more about the journey? Because sometimes, when we do the classes here and we discuss this idea of anatta, and we talk about this idea that it's one thing to, for example, intellectually grasp this lecture and say, okay, I understand rationally. But then you have the asmimana, right? The conceit of I am, which is only at the end of the journey. So what are the can you say a little bit about what does the journey look like from this very beginning we cracked open the matrix, but...
You got it, right? I'm glad. Madam, this is something very cool. What you give is what you get. Agree? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Same principle. Man reap what he sows. Same principle. If you want to get this idea into your mind, what you have to do? You have to give your time and your effort to realize this with the support from a teacher. When you listen to this again and again and again and again, your mind will slowly get trained to think in this line of thoughts. See, you are actually chanting this mantra every moment. Entity, yes. Entity, yes. Entity, yes. But with the support from a teacher, you are actually putting this other idea. What is that? The reality, the truth. Right? This is what Buddha has explained, the level of the path. Sotapanna, the stream enterer, one returner, non-returner, and the Arihant, the enlightened. This is the step-by-step process, guidance. This is what actually happens there. When you listen to this again and again and again, it goes beyond your intellectual understanding and you start to feel from your heart. This is the moment you are now at the point of that first level. Now your teacher doesn't have to do much work, but if you are with the teacher can help you to energize it. As a result of that, now you are thinking in this line of thought. You listen, meditate. Actually, that meditation is not mindfulness. That meditation is mindful awareness. You are aware about the way you feel. It's not that you feel, it's the way you feel. The cause and effect. You are now going through the Dhamma, you are going through the teachings, and it's not intellectual, but you try to experience it. In this, that's why I did it very slowly, this lecture, because, I can resonate your mind according to the way I resonate. It's like I am receiving Buddha FM 104.7, but you don't know how to channel your mind, tune your mind. So what I did, using sound and the facial expression, I tune it to 104.7. This is what happened. I don't know what's there in 104.7. This is exactly what happened when you listen to a teacher in front of a teacher. This is what happened. That's why Buddha has said, you have to listen first to realize it. Then when you practice it, you will slowly, then you will slowly realize that this is you, you are you, this is. There's no difference between this and this. Can you see this orange? Let's say I freeze you. I freeze the time. There's no time, it's an illusion. We can discuss this later. Let's say I freeze. And now, if I delve into your mind, what are the components that I can find? Orange. Because this picture is where? Is it here or there in your mind? Where does this picture appear? Here or in your mind? Okay, at this point, who are you then? Orange. This becomes you when I show this. When you look at me, you become me. When you realize this, you can't argue with someone. Because you are me, I am you. And this is the core teachings. This is the core. When you go deeper and deeper, this is what we call enlightenment, ladies and gentlemen. When you realize this idea is wrong, and when you go beyond the intellectual understanding, that's where you start to feel as collection, not entities. You came across skandha? Skandha, the meaning of skandha is aggregation. The mass means what? Skandha. The skandha means what? Aggregation. Rupa means aggregation. This is an aggregation. This is the first thing we studied in science. The mass is discrete. Then who is the God created this world? Bible, when you read between the lines, he is talking about this. You have to read between the lines, not the literal meaning. God cannot be imagined. God cannot be created. He is the Almighty God. God cannot be imagined. Can you imagine energy? Who powers this light? Energy. Who powers this apple? Who powers this perception? Definitely, ladies and gentlemen, without energy you can't see anything. It's not creator, ladies and gentlemen. This is the way that this is the process of creation. It's such deep concept that he has explained to that culture. But the thing is, people's intellectual understanding is not enough. That's why you can only read the surface meaning. Even Quran, even Bhagavad Gita, everywhere you can find these teachings. Even 1000. Dao means what? The way. The flowness. This is not apple, it's an appling. You know why these bonds? Actually, is it fixed or maintaining? Is it fixed or vibrating? Molecules. Electrons, do they fix or vibrate? So it's a being. This is a being apple. This is Mr. Being, not Mr. Bean, Mr. Being. So, when you go through the journey, day by day, you will realize, my goodness, the way that I was thinking, but now I feel this is more deeper and deeper, and it relieves all the suffering. Because we are running behind the things. Because you don't want to see this thing again and again and again, because you want to see another thing. Because you have a strong belief that there are two different things. But when you understand there's no different things, you stop your quest of searching for things. This is the way to tame your mind. Got it? Association is the key. Because you are not you are. You are the environment. Because you are the people who associate you. The point of views. When you associate, birds with a feather, flocks together. Like-minded, like-mind. Like-minded, like-minded. Like-mind people, like-mind. They like each other. This is the way that aggregation happens. Similar characteristics aggregate. That's why you can see, even you can explain gravity. People are trying to find where's the gravity. All the science and everything that we learn, you can explain from this. This is the theory of everything. Now you know why I became a monk, because this is so interesting. I don't have to apply for grants, because my grant is my mind. But if you do research, I can help you. I want you to do research about this. If you're actually doing research, I can help you, I can guide you, I can give you this, whatever that we receive, we think. You can do research, we can prove these concepts.
So is there such a thing as energy and mind, or is this just a way we think about things to release our suffering?
Pardon?
Is there such a thing in reality, I suppose, as energy and mind, or is this just a way we think about things in order to release suffering? Because
I didn't go deeper, sir, in here. That's why I just actually actually this world is free energy, doesn't have shape, sound, anything. The finest level of aggregation, energy aggregation, is the mind. Then the space. This is the God's particle. Then the light. Then the gas, liquid, solid. This is the level of aggregation. The mind is also part of energy. Suffering is not actually suffering. Suffering is the pressure that experience in the minding process. That we feel suffering, the heat. Heat is the pressure that happens in the minding process, because energy flows. Energy can't stay there in one place. Energy flows. The pressure happens because of the ignorance. Does it make sense? So the free energy. So Nibbana, state of Nibbana, is the freedom. This is the freedom. This is the kingdom. This is the United Kingdoms, and this is the freedom. Freedom means free energy. There's no shape, there's no form, there's no chitta, there's no mind, there's no entities. This is the after enlightened person pass away. Because he doesn't believe in an idea of what? Entity, self. When this mind is ignorance, now this mind is the key source that generates, that keeps ignorance in this world. As a result of that, mind has created the space, mind has created the light, mind has created gas, liquid, solid, and this body. That's why in the Bible it says, God has created the people, then has created planets. Because planets are denser level of aggregations. This is matching with the Buddha's teachings in 𝗗𝗏𝗁 Sutra. The mind is the first. This is mind associated with space and light. This is the Brahma. This is the Brahma space. Mind, space and light. And gas, light and space, mind. This is Deva. This is how it gets denser and denser. Your bodies are having all these states. This is so, this goes deeper and deeper.